Hello and welcome to the Aftermath. My name is Ian, and as always, I'm joined by Dylan. I got back from my Disney vacation. Whenever this episode releases this past Sunday,
you will have been returned.
Yes, so it's been the better part of a week that I have been back and trying to get back into the routine of things. And
The Disney lingers.
before we get into anything else, I just want to say we're gonna talk a little bit about why this is just a conversational episode.
Yeah.
And I don't want to ever give this a stigma, like it's not okay for us to do this.
Right.
These are fun episodes, and I enjoy just talking and just shooting the breeze. It's great. And I don't feel like I have to have an excuse, but sometimes there are excuses as to why these are happening.
Right.
And we'll get to that. But the first thing is that I actually sound a little bit better now, but if you can hear, I probably sound a little congested.
Mm-hmm.
Because whenever I was in Florida this past week in Disney World,
Contracted a case of the sniffles.
it was a roller coaster of weather, my guy.
Yeah.
It was like
You're telling me.
it was like a little no here it froze over.
Right.
In the state of Louisiana, it froze over for a week.
Yep.
That's not what happened in Florida. In Florida, it was hot, a little chilly, then it rained, and then it got really cold.
Oof.
But then it warmed up a little bit again, and then rained again, and then it got really cold again for like the last couple days. So in the course of 5 days, we had the full spectrum
Damn.
of like kind of warm, humid, rainy, cold, and then and the whole cycle repeated while we were there. It wasn't bad. I will say it didn't ruin the trip at all.
Right.
The few times it rained, it was like light showers, if any, and we brought an umbrella. And again, we strategically moved around buildings and stuff, or we had like reservations at dinner and stuff like that when some of the storms were going on. So wasn't bad at all.
Yeah.
But I think also, obviously, a bunch of families and their germy-ass kids
Oh, God.
were in there. So, I mean, that probably does not help this situation. But, on the trip back, also flying back, I started to feel a little under the weather because I think all that weather change.
Mm-hmm.
And we were also walking a lot. Dude, we walked so much, which was great. It was wonderful.
Okay.
But I think by the time the trip was over, I wore myself out, and all the weather and all the my body was like,
Right.
we're hot, we're cold, we're
It was
wet,
the perfect storm.
right. So I feel like my body was just like, I give up,
Right. You're on your
take
own.
me. Germs can have it.
Mm-hmm.
This guy's obviously not taking care of us.
Yeah.
But
Bacteria would be preferable.
exactly. So to be honest, I believe it was Saturday. Was when I started kind of I got like a headache. It was kind of like I feel a little scratchy. It was like a little gross. And then when we were traveling back Sunday, I was like, oh yeah, I'm a little
There is an ailment.
there's an ailment here. And because then on Sunday was when the fatigue set in, and also the body aches a little bit. If you ever know that feeling of whenever you get sick, and you already feel I'm just lethargic, and
fucking hate that feeling.
and then also you have these just everything feels uncomfortable.
Right.
Sitting.
It makes it so easy to nap.
Oh
and
yeah,
fall asleep.
yeah.
But holy shit,
Mhm.
if you try to get up or move in any reasonable degree, you will be disabled immediately.
Right. It wasn't. No, I wasn't quite that bad because I've had that. That sounds like the flu right there.
Right.
But for me, it was just that you got the cold, and you just kind of feel like you just have that for me at least, it shows up in my neck,
Mhm.
and my neck and my upper back or whatever just feels tense, and constantly feels I'm just not comfortable,
Yeah.
and I'm just tense or whatever, and yeah. So that was the last day. It was just travel.
Right.
So the whole trip was great, except I felt like I came down with a.
Just couldn't quite stick the landing.
Yeah, it could. Well, yeah, I plummeted the landing, but it's okay. Made it home though. And boy, you talk about plummet the landing. I was because we had the first flight out of Orlando, we had to be at the airport for like something crazy early, and that
Yeah.
first flight got delayed and delayed and delayed.
Ugh.
It was supposed to be out of there at like, I want to say like 6 or 7 or something like that, and it got delayed all the way until almost like 10 o'clock or like 11 almost. Yeah, so like I was sitting there, and obviously you're in the airport, so there's no like, you can't lay down in the seats because
Right.
obviously there's also people around too. Sometimes at that point there was nobody there, but even still, like the fixed armrests that like don't have a pass through. So like I was just like sitting slumped over in a chair,
Ugh.
just like neck all cricked out, just like sort of kind of napping for like
Right.
3 hours or whatever.
Drifting in and out of consciousness.
Exactly. As all of a sudden, like, it felt like a magic trick. Like you fall asleep for what feels like maybe an hour or so, and it's only
Right.
been 30 minutes. But then all of a sudden, like 10 more people are there. And you're like, oh shit, what's going on?
Damn.
And then I kind of doze off again. It's been like an hour this time. I wake up, and of course there's like a crowd of people. I'm like, where am I?
Shit.
And it's just like they're everywhere.
I've been moved.
Yeah, exactly.
Each time to a different location with more people.
Right. Yeah. But the trip was wonderful. It was very busy. We had a lot of stuff planned, and we did a lot of walking, like I said.
Yeah.
We did all the new Disney World rides. It was awesome.
Yeah.
The big thing this trip, I think, was supposed to be, at least for me in my mind, was a chance for Mallory and I to just have like time to ourselves, like just the two of us. We have very busy schedules, what with my day job and these podcasts, and then of
Right.
course her job and all her stuff that she does and all her people she hangs out with and stuff.
Doesn't leave much time.
A prime example of this is whenever we got back home. But like before I say that, like the whole week we were there, it was just the two of us, and we just got to spend all the time together. We just hung out all the time, which I know that's something that I think that I don't want to say I know Mallory really appreciates and really loves. It's just
Right.
like quality time. It's just like being there with her is like something that she really needs a lot. And so it was nice to be able to just like, that was the main focus, was just her and I just taking a bunch of pictures, eating all these like fancy ass meals, and just going all to and seeing all the fun like sites that we got to because we went like a year and a half ago or whatever. So like we did all those things the first time, and this second time we like kind of hit the high notes that we liked from the last trip, but this whole trip was a bunch of new stuff. So it was really like a whole different experience, which was really awesome. But to get back to what I was saying a second ago,
Right.
like the day we got back, she had work that Monday, I had off that Monday, and then both of us worked on Tuesday.
Yep.
So Tuesday we had been back home for less than 48 hours, and like
You gotta get right back to it.
she got up super early for work in the morning. I left after she did. And then I was trying to plan things for the podcasts ahead of time, and also like other stuff with work. And then she went to go hang out with a friend of hers to go like kind of catch up because it's been 2 weeks since I hung out.
Right.
So she was going to go gush about the trip with her friend.
Mhm.
But by the time she got back home, she was like, I got to go to bed for work the next morning. So
Right.
like I briefly saw her, in the afternoon after it was all said and done with, and was like, well, that's it.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah,
Good night.
hey, and goodbye. So yeah, it was kind of a little sad because it was the past week was kind of a perfect perfect little trip for the two of us, which was awesome. It was something we've been looking forward to for
A much needed sabbatical.
exactly. So regardless of all
I could
that,
use one of those.
yeah, you're right, dude. We're working on a year since since we had the Destin trip. That's crazy.
Fug.
Fug. Yeah, so that's been the better course of this week for me, is like constantly like looking at my calendar to figure out what day it is, because I haven't been able to get that.
Passage of time is convoluted in Orlando.
Exactly. I don't want to spill Ethan's business, but Ethan
you don't have to spill it, but you can spiel it.
spiel it. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, Ethan's got a procedure and stuff like that with all his stuff going on,
Yep.
and so I was planning on
Gotta be
taking
up
him.
early for 4 in the morning.
Yep. So he's got all his stuff happening, but so I wanted to get him on the podcast this week, but because he's doing a bunch of prep for that,
Right.
he's like, I think I'm gonna be out for the count for a while, and I was like, hey, I get it,
It is what it
But-
is.
but this episode right here
Yeah.
is our 199th episode.
Oh, fuck.
So next episode is our 200th episode that we can do sometime next week. And
Shit.
I
Yeah,
want to,
we got a kid.
I want to get all the boys out here if we can. Or I want to
Chase too.
I mean,
Shit.
anyway, whoever wants to celebrate, we're at 200 now, dude, which is crazy.
Oh man,
That's nuts.
that's something else.
So I mean,
That's a big number.
whoever
I
wants to,
can't even count that high.
yeah, I believe in you. You could probably do it.
200, dude. Come on.
It's like 100 twice.
Yeah, that's way too much.
Okay, well,
That's 100 too many.
oh, really? Okay.
But yeah, that's.
This
God
coming
damn.
March, we're approaching our 4-year anniversary.
Oh my god,
Yeah. Our little podcast is a toddler now at this point.
Oh. motherfucker's gonna start walking.
Yeah. Well, I think he should be walking at this point.
Whoa.
But yeah. So that is the excuse on my end is we're sitting here, we're drinking tea after a long week for me of trying to recalibrate and get back to some
semblance of normalcy.
some semblance of normality and getting all my stuff all figured out with work and all the
Yeah.
podcast stuff. But I want to talk about a little bit about why you're so tired right now. Just a little bit.
Right.
Just a little bit. We could talk about it just for a wee bit.
So,
This boy hasn't been home in 2 days.
all right. I've been driving,
Yeah, and driving.
and then I.
And the thing is, you weren't sick this week, but you sound a little under the weather
I'm
now.
a little congested.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's my fault or that's because you've been outside in the rain in the
I don't know what to
probably
do.
chilly air.
I'm hoping it's just the weather.
Probably so.
Allergies, perhaps.
Yeah,
Perhaps.
perhaps.
But yeah, I was driving, and then it stopped driving. My
That's
car
not supposed to happen.
no-goed no more.
Hey, go no more.
Right. Found out I had an oil leak as well as a coolant leak.
Jeez, man.
Like the oil pump was messed up.
So did it like start making a bunch of noises, or did it just cut off?
Not that I had an ear for it. As far as I knew, it was running the same as it always had been.
Really?
So we take a look at it. The coolant was low, of course, so we refill it, and it is practically spewing out from under
Oh my gosh!
the oil pan. So we go and get a new one,
Right,
get a new gasket and everything for it,
as you do.
get it replaced, and it's just practically good as new.
Nice. So you're going to go visit your parents, and while in their neighborhood, all of a sudden it's like blah 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 blah.
Right. I
Damn.
went just past a stop sign. And
I mean, hey, of all the places to just let it
right, I
shit the
lucked
bed.
out. Jesus
it's
Christ.
just in their neighborhood
Yeah.
and not just like on a highway.
Like, hey, I'm like a block down. Can you come help me out?
Yeah. I'm playing a game of Frogger right now on
Right.
the highway.
And
Could you
I'm
come?
the frog.
Yeah. And I'm the solid object.
Right. So, needless to say, it was a fairly eventful past 2 days. I'm so glad we were able to get everything figured out in 2 days.
Right.
Of course, there are a few more small things we happened upon while we were just giving it the once over.
Right.
So,
Once you peel that back a little bit, you start getting a little critique, a
Yeah.
little a critical eye.
right, it's like, well, since we're in here already,
Yeah,
might as well
yeah.
just do this or that.
Or you start tuning up this and prettying up all this, and you're like,
Yeah.
that actually looks broken too.
Once you start, you can't stop.
Yeah. Especially with an older car like that, like you got like a
Oh, yeah. A
you got a-
99 Honda
I was
Civic.
gonna say you got a car that's been around a little bit.
God
So
Damn,
there's just all those.
beautiful.
It's so surprising how, especially like a vehicle, like a car,
Mhm.
that like so many things can go right to make the car operate.
Right.
But sometimes there are these little things that can be like broken or not working properly.
And it'll put the whole thing in jeopardy.
Right, but in the opposite of that, there's also these little things that can be broken or not right, but the car can still function.
Right.
and you won't ever really look at it until you're like looking at it and you're like, I don't think that's supposed to be like that. And you're like, oh yeah, it's not actually.
For instance, the middle pipe for my exhaust is just gone.
There we go. See?
Yeah.
Like, again,
Took a look under my car. I was like, oh, well, that my muffler's just hanging, not connected on a hook. And I'm like, okay, well, I don't know where the pipe went. But
is that why your car? You know what?
What?
That's exactly why your car's so loud.
Yeah, probably.
Because there's no muffler.
I mean, it was loud before, but I'm sure it was raised a couple octaves after that pipe just fucking fell off or some shit.
Right.
But,
that's usually what a muffler does. Is it?
Yeah.
Or again, a lot of times, back in my teenage years, if we're going to go way back a little bit here, is that guys used to their exhaust. They used to trim back their muffler.
Yeah.
Especially the catalytic converter, whatever it is down there. But they would curve the exhaust pipe down underneath the car because it would make it louder. Because obviously you're cutting back all like the dampening, the muffling, all that kind of stuff, and you're just turning it down to the ground, and it just makes your car sound louder. Your car definitely had especially at some at revving up at certain frequencies, the whole cabin of the car would be like,
it's got some good power to it.
Yeah.
A strong engine.
That's probably exactly what that is, which is kind of crazy to think about.
But it's a good car.
Yeah.
I'm happy to have it.
Yeah.
And I hope it lasts a while.
Right. Well, if you keep it up, looks like you're going to probably keep it around for a
this
little
will
bit.
serve as
The
a
thing
nice
is,
tune-up.
dude, it's a 90s Honda.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, freaking
best part about it is how cheap everything is.
Bruh. And talk about readily accessible.
Uh-huh.
I'm telling you, dude, it was the same thing. Excuse me, I got the hiccups. It was the same thing when I had the 01 Honda CRV.
Oh, man.
I'm telling you, 90s,
I miss that thing.
90s through the early 2000s. Obviously, again, one of the most popular car brands was a Honda.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm telling you, you owned a Honda Civic or a Honda Accord, you could just find parts for anything.
It was peak.
Everything. And it kind of works the same way, I think, now with the F-150. I think there's just so many F-150s around that you can find parts for a lot of them.
Anywhere and everywhere.
Right. And again, also in that 90s, early 2000 range was before a lot of electronic stuff started being prevalent.
Right.
My 2001 CRV had a tape deck in it still.
Had
an FM radio and a tape deck, and that was it.
Wow.
AC controls, tape deck, FM radio, maybe AM radio, I think, and that was about it. No automatic seats. I think it had automatic locks and windows.
Right.
But that was about it.
Not much else.
Not much else.
That was the fanciest bell and or whistle they could put on there for you.
Still had those orange lights or whatever, incandescent lights or whatever. It would get super hot if you left them on. Yeah. So it was that kind of stuff.
Jeez.
Love that car. And the same thing, with a socket set and some willpower, you could almost take apart the whole. Yeah, you could do a lot with that car. My dad and I really did that. We changed out a lot of stuff. My dad helped me change out the transmission. The only thing we didn't do with the transmission was resurface the flywheel because he was like, I don't have a machine to grind it.
Right.
So we went to a machine shop and they reground the flywheel.
Did
or whatever.
the deed.
Yeah, which was kind of cool because I was like, I've never done this before.
Yeah.
So
I think the worst part of that whole process had to have been the gasket for the oil pan.
Oh gosh, they're a pain.
Because we were able to get it off, no problem. But as soon as we tried to take the gasket off, the thing had fucking solidified and practically merged with the oil pan itself.
Oh no! So you had to scrape it off?
Yes.
Was it? I guess because if it's leaking, it must have been dry rotted or crusted.
Yeah, it was definitely. It was just a sturdy piece of work.
Oof.
He ended up having to take a blowtorch to it.
Wait, what?
To heat it up so that it would become softer and malleable, so that we could actually just peel it off.
Damn. Was it all in one piece? You had to break it off.
It ended up having to as soon as we would start taking off one part, they would get to one that hadn't been heated quite as much, and then it would just snap.
Damn.
So
Yeah, that was a
Took a
dry.
lot longer.
That's a bad gasket right there.
Yeah.
If it's rubber, it's like cracking. It's
Yeah.
a bad day.
Yeah. But
Speaking of, dude, there was before I left my trip. It was probably 2 weeks ago, or it was probably around like the Christmas season, or right before then. There was a dry spell we had around here, like over the past probably like 4 to 6 months. Like it was significantly drier down here than it normally is during this time of year.
Yeah.
And it was like, you could see like the averages, and we're like far below average for like rainfall and stuff like that. And it was also just like drier air, which is, I mean, for us, probably still is higher than most other states in the country.
yeah.
But for us, it was dry enough to where like I didn't use my windshield wipers in like a handful of months. It was also hot sometimes and dry, and you know what happens with rubber when you get it hot and dry and just let it sit on the sun for a while.
Yeah.
My windshield wipers, my right one started kind of flaking off or whatever, and there was one time it started to rain, and it hit the rubber blade broke off as it was wiping on. It was on the passenger side, so I could still see because it was covering mine.
Yeah.
But like it broke off a little bit. And it was kind of like it was like flopping around a little bit. I was like, "Ha, that's funny."
Right.
And then like as I was driving, it got worse and worse until like maybe like half of an inch or like a sliver was still holding on.
My God.
So I would move the windshield wipers, and it was just like like the whole blade would like flop around in the wind and all that kind of stuff. It was literally at one point in time, because I was driving and it was like windy. It was like like across the windshield.
Oh my God.
It was so funny, dude.
Jesus.
I'm just driving like, man, what am I doing here?
Right.
But needless to say,
this is embarrassing.
People
are gonna start pointing and laughing at me.
I splurged on the Rain-X blades.
Yeah.
They're like, I don't want to say expensive. They're
Nicer than average.
yes, the standard. I mean the standard blades. I think you can get for like $6 a piece.
Yeah.
And I think I spent $3. Oh, sorry. I think I spent $15 a piece.
Damn.
So like they're expensive, but they're very rigid and they feel very nice, and they're also coated with Rain-X. So whenever the windshield gets wet and you wipe it, it reapplies Rain-X on the windshield, which again like beads off the water and stuff. And I was like, this is probably a gimmick, but I was like, but to be honest, like if I'm gonna spend the money on them, it's $30, and I was like, I can definitely spend that right now, and it's kind of important, at least because it was like we're getting into a season where like it's gonna be raining a lot supposedly. So I was like,
it has been so far.
It 100% has been so far, which I think
was a wise investment.
And that's what I was saying too. I was like, if nothing else,
we storming its ass off for the past few days now.
Yes, we live in Louisiana, so I was like, I mean, if nothing else, like I know for a fact it's going to rain.
Right.
I mean, unless we go through some sort
the
of
swamps must be replenished.
You know how it goes. Anyways, they were kind of a pain in the ass to put on, but like once I figured out how to actually like, because there's like a lot of converters and stuff to get them in the like hook right. So once I got all that like figured out, it was raining as I was applying them because I was at the gas station.
Just in time.
Bruh. I fixed it and it started raining. Like I did one fell swoop, and all of a sudden, like my windshield never looked like cleaner.
I can see.
And I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you know that, like especially if like your windshield wipers are kind of getting old, like the blades won't make full contact. So like they'll wipe, but sometimes like sections won't be wiped up.
They'll just leave little portions here and there.
Right, because either like that part has like been kind of like cut off, or or whatever may have like broke it or sheared it off or whatever.
Wear and tear.
Exactly. It's stuff that happens, but I felt so. It felt like it was the instant gratification for me, at least, of like I spent $30 on these windshield wipers that are probably a gimmick. I don't know. Who knows? And then to like immediately like turn them on, it was like ta-da! Oh, like the whole windshield was like clean and like I could see it all. Yep. I was like,
money.
I was like, yeah, I'm happy now. I feel proud of that. So yeah,
good stuff.
Yeah, it's fun to do some little. I can't do major car repairs, but like some little ones here and there make me feel pretty good.
I really want to get some of that knowledge under my belt.
Well, it sounds like your brother-in-law is the kind of person who
he is what I would consider an expert.
Really?
Yeah.
So does he do it for a living, or is it like a side thing he does?
He used to do it for. I mean, he's done a lot of like mechanic shop work.
Right.
Specific. I want to say it's mainly like trucks he used to focus on.
Like big rigs or like pickup trucks?
No, just like regular pickups.
Okay.
But the motherfucker has become in tuned with the Honda Civic.
I mean, hey.
And its many varieties.
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's one of the most purchased sedans.
Oh, yeah.
In like vehicle automotive history or whatever. So, I mean.
I wouldn't surprise me.
The Civic has been around for
all hell.
You're right.
It takes nothing less than a severe natural disaster to ruin one of these things.
The thing
because
is,
I'm fairly certain mine went through the 2016 flood.
Really?
Because of how like stiff and jerky all the innards are, like the lever for the gas hatch, and like the doors, the trunks, everything has just got this sort of like creakiness to it. Even the shifter, but
interesting.
It's still going.
Yeah, I mean, I said that about my CRV for it being a 2001. It was the same. I've heard this about Toyota Corollas. I've seen this about Honda Civics and all that kind of stuff, or Hondas in general. It's like if you keep gas in it, you keep oil on it, and you keep good tires on it, it'll go forever.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's the CRV. I brought it all the way to Canada.
Mm-hmm.
I towed it there, and then I drove around while I was there, and then I drove it back. And it lived in Canada in sub-zero temperatures for 2 years.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it wasn't sub-zero all the time, but like it survived through 2 harsh winters, minus 30 Celsius type stuff.
Like it weren't nothing.
I don't say like it weren't nothing. There was a couple. I think I've said this on the podcast
it
before.
A little something.
I would start it up and it would go yeah, and it would start, and I was like, bruh. It was a couple of times where like the turnover, the confidence of like rum, and it goes.
Right.
There was nothing like turning it and it goes rum, and then it started. Yeah, exactly. and it never stalled. It was just it was always like on a cold start.
Right.
It would have to like I gotta warm up. It was crazy, dude. But never had a problem with it.
Yeah.
Same thing. I kept fresh oil in it. I kept it pretty full on gas, whatever I could, and changed out the tires on it and kept it running clean.
Oh yeah.
I want to say I had that car for the better part of 5 to 10 years. Yeah, and
insane.
And again, it looks like the same thing for you. Your gas, the oil pan, the thing that holds the oil, is about to fall off, and it's still like, I'm trying, I'm trying.
I've reached the end of the river. You gotta help me.
Yeah. I can't make it anymore.
Right.
Yeah, but you're able to change it out, so that's good.
Oh yeah, we got it running again.
Right.
Just a couple more things to replace, and then it'll be in tip-top condition.
That's awesome, dude. And once you get your AC belt changed out, you probably have some functioning climate control.
Maybe.
I think that's the problem. I really do think that's the problem.
The consistency, as far as like air goes, is that the fans work.
Right. The fans turn over and blow, but I think there's nothing that's connecting the like compressor to.
I have no internal temperature control.
Right.
Whatever temperature it is outside is what I am going to get from my fans.
Right.
And it was really rough during the summer months.
Bruh, this past summer was also very hot.
Fucking hate the heat.
Yeah, it's awful.
Consistent 90-degree weather.
Oh, God.
For multiple weeks.
I will never... The thing that made me laugh, because it makes sense, was the fact that we broke records with how many records we were breaking.
Oh, yeah.
We had
just one after the other.
I want to say we had a nearly 30-day streak of record-breaking temperatures, which is record-breaking.
Yeah.
Is the fact that we had such a prolonged streak of record-breaking temperatures all in one go for basically the month of, what was it, August, September?
Yeah.
Something like that.
Vile.
Ugh. Gross.
Yeah.
Hate it.
Couldn't stand it.
It was awful.
Heat stroke?
Yeah. Nah.
It's coming.
Yeah. But anyways, I brought all that up to talk about all that, not only because it was interesting and funny, but you literally got back home not too long ago.
I've been dozing off.
Yeah.
I dozed off like twice.
Really?
Like whenever I just got comfy, changed into my sleeping
Right.
clothes, I was just laying in bed watching a video about God Hand,
Yeah.
a game I personally can't wait to play because it's
Yeah.
super fun and cool.
Cool.
And cool. But then Ian got the tea going, and I was just I'm going to go sit in the living room for a little bit.
He just doze off again.
Right, I curl up in a nice warm blankie with a pillow, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm off to Sleepy Time Junction.
Yep.
Got 2 tickets, one for me and the other for me again.
For me again. Yep. They're round trip tickets. If you go there real quick and then come back.
Right.
But yeah.
But needless to say, I'm going to sleep really fucking good tonight.
Oh, I bet. Do you have work tomorrow?
Got to be there for 9:45.
Oh, shit.
Which isn't bad.
No, that's not
I
bad.
can do that, no problem. Past couple shifts, it's been either 7, 6, or 8.
Yeah.
And that's usually my threshold. But
right.
Yeah, 9:45 to 4. Thank you very much.
Right.
And then I got some time off.
Fun stuff.
So, relaxation abound.
Right.
But next week, you know what's coming next week?
Yeah.
Tell it to me.
Well, I think it's going to be...
Oh, you think?
I think it's going to be Grand Blue.
I believe you know. Yes, sir. That
Maybe.
is it.
Maybe it is.
Next Thursday.
Jeez, dude.
Relink will release.
Gosh.
And it will finally be within our grasps.
How long it has been.
A fucking decade.
Yeah. Literally.
Yeah.
I haven't been
Armored Core tier shit we've been waiting on.
I haven't been waiting a decade for this game. I've only known about it for maybe a year.
Me and Chase found out about this shit in high school.
That's crazy.
Yeah. It's been around that long.
So
been in development hell for that long.
So was there any promotional stuff that they had back then, or any idea?
They
was
would
it
have
just
the
like little teasers?
Teaser, the occasional demo showing off where the game plays at, how everything's functioning.
Yeah.
But that's all.
Really?
I'm amazed we even got a demo.
I mean, the thing is, I think the reason why we got a demo this go round is because I think it's very popular right now to do that. I think a lot of people are. Well,
I'd consider it a show of good faith, even.
Right. The thing is,
demo before release, like, hey, we're pretty confident that this game's in a very playable and enjoyable state.
But
let's give it a spin.
The thing is, I think that it's. I don't want to say a fad, but I think that if I'm not mistaken, correct me if I'm wrong, people at home or Dylan, but I think that what is the most recent Final Fantasy called?
Final Fantasy 16.
Final Fantasy 16 had a demo. And there was other demos that I think have come out recently, but I want to point that as one of the examples why other new games are releasing demos as well, because that one did so well.
Yeah.
I think single-handedly that demo sold that game a lot of copies. I can put money on it. That was a great demo, and it was
super fun.
And it was for me. It summarized what a demo should be. It summarizes the first section of the game, first little chapter, whatever it is.
A nice little slice of the pie.
Because again, it is. I think the demo was created. I think the game was created in mind with like the fact that there was going to probably be a demo of like the first chapter, which then like once you finish will proceed directly into like the second. You can pick up where you left off in the game, like in the physical game.
I was able to do exactly that.
And that's what I'm saying. It's like that. It incentivizes playing the demo because again, it's like you get to play the first chapter early, but it's not everything.
So it's like a head start as well as maybe a couple goodies.
Exactly. And I think that it was like not only was it a good execution of a demo, but I think it was already a potentially hyped franchise or reignition of a franchise like they do every now and then.
Yeah.
It was a cool premise that the people loved or hated or whatever you want to, however you feel about it. But I think it was a well-made game with a well-made demo that I think was like for me, I think it did the best publicity for the game.
Yeah.
And I think other games are kind of doing that. And I think that I'm not trying to say that all these other games are copying off of them,
Right.
but I think they're seeing the benefit and like this is the best publicity for the game, is like putting forth a demo to show people how far how flushed out this game is.
Right.
Because I think specifically, and again, I could be wrong, but speaking from personal experience, I think you could as well. Especially games that drop with a $60 to $70 price tag that are severely unfinished is kind of like it's kind of old news now, and it's kind of we're all pissed off about it. I've been pissed off about the fact that like you drop a game and there's like a bunch of patches day one.
The saddest new term for me that's become more and more common is feature complete.
Right.
As if that's not a guarantee.
Right.
Whenever a game releases.
Right. And so with that, we have been in the past few years, you buy a pre-order or you buy the game on release and it can barely function. Or like it's got nothing of what was promised.
Right.
There's
or the other crazy
microtransactions, like all the other like commercialization of video games that just make it it so gross and all that kind of stuff. And so I think that there are examples of like what I think some people that are like that are trying to make a good product, that aren't trying to just like capitalize on something or commercialize on something,
right?
That I think are trying to put their best foot forward. And I think this is like what I'm trying to say is that I think these like demos that are happening on release is a trend, but I think it could be the potential of a good trend.
Yeah.
Of like, I don't know. I could be wrong. Final Fantasy
it's a good example to follow.
Right.
But then again, that's if you have the resources
You're
or if you're far along enough in the game's development to really even put one out.
Right. Which I understand that can always happen, but that's what I'm meaning by the fact that like I think Grand Blue Relink is the past few months have been in the final stages of like really combing through it. So I think having a functioning demo does not feel outside the realm of possibility because I think the game has been very flushed out.
Oh, yeah.
The same thing with Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy, obviously, I could be wrong, but like I don't think it had a whole lot of issues on launch.
No.
So that's what I'm saying. So like at that point, it's like
smooth launch.
Right. And so at that point, it's like you got a really great game that is like that functions and potentially I would say is worth the cost of like a full price game.
Oh yeah, dude, that demo
worth its weight. And you talk about again, it was a demo that released that we all sat down and watched you play.
It was lengthy.
And it was hype.
Uh-huh.
It's obviously it's like any game.
I mean, it's gotta hook you.
Oh, right. Any story, anything has to get you that. Like any pilot to a show has to get you the hook to want to come back for more. So I'm not.
This one do it.
Bruh, I'm not upset by that because that's how you tell a story. Is like you got to tantalize us a little bit and hook us in.
Get invested.
But the story was great. Like obviously I think the whole game I think is really great.
Yeah.
But the fact that like again whenever the story is strong enough and the game is well built enough that they're like, yeah, we can just give you the first chapter of the game and just like really not pull our punches and just let it happen, which is awesome. So I wouldn't be, the reason I'm saying all this is I wouldn't be surprised if in the future other games that are potentially like further along in development or like have the resources to make a demo that we don't possibly see more of that of like a pretty substantial little demo to kind of release to get people like talking about it.
Yeah.
Because that's what I think it is.
It's
like
it is hard to compare like a mainstay franchise like Final Fantasy to Joe Schmo RPG.
You're right. You're right.
But that's neither here nor there.
But again, it's also like I think I could be. I mean, I keep trying to say I could be wrong because again, I feel like I don't want to come across as like I know all the answers. Right. But I feel like gone are the days of like overhyping a game. Hopefully, with no delivery in a way. And so I think that, at least in my book, that's the case where I'm not going to get overhyped and have super high expectations for a game that doesn't have anything to show for it. And so I think that even if it is a more indie game or something that has like a lower budget of like following the trend of like, just showing the, instead of doing a whole early access or whatever, maybe you could do that. Who knows? But just like putting your best foot forward and say like, try this out. And this is like, and because it really feels like if you like this, that's what the game is going to be. That's what a demo is.
Yeah.
Is like, if you like this, if you enjoy this, this is us putting our best foot forward. Here, take a look at that.
Have a taste.
A
sample.
So it has to be pretty locked in. And at that point, if it's all, I don't know. I just think people, like Starfield and things like that are just like, you pay so much money for a game and it just is so lackluster or anyway, so.
It's being a waste of time and money.
Yeah. Doesn't promise on anything and it's all just features are gone or, no. Well, had to have a little game rant there for a second.
Oh, yeah.
But like I said, I think
games all fucking day.
Right. I think there's some good trends happening, and I think that could be really good. And I feel like that's potentially one of them.
Oh, yeah.
Of like games that
we had some good stuff come out last year and this year.
Right.
And
I wouldn't be surprised if in this coming year, like if other games that feel like they are really near completion, if they like were to put out a demo, I wouldn't be surprised.
That'd be wonderful.
Because that's
I'm
why
all for a resurgence of quality product.
And that's what I'm saying. So I feel like I could be wrong, but this feels like the beginning of like a trend a little bit that I think started off with the best intentions of Armored Core didn't have a demo.
Not that I know of. At least not before release.
Was there any other games recently that had a? I know there's been a handful of them. I know people probably listening are like, screaming at.
Oh, I'm sure.
For what they
more than a few examples, none of which we know of, unfortunately.
Right.
But
yeah. Some other big games coming out this year, and I wouldn't be surprised if we get like a nice little show of how far they've come.
Yeah.
So, which could be really cool. So
here's hoping.
Right. Everyone's been hyped about Pal World. I've heard nothing about this game, and then all of a sudden, the past 2 days, I've heard nonstop about it.
I have only heard things. I have not seen the game itself.
Really?
I know our buddies John and Kobe have been playing the shit out of it.
Yes, they have. Do you mind if I tell you about it from what I know of it? My idiot's recollection of the game?
Right, go ahead.
It is...
The layman's term.
Yeah, the most layman's term. They have an art style that is reminiscent of Pokemon for the creatures, but you can have like guns and stuff.
Right.
So it's like
full-on automatic weapon.
Right. So it's like, have you ever played Ark?
I haven't played it myself, but I know how it plays.
Right. Yeah. It's like your survival game, but you're like taming dinosaurs and things like that. It's like Ark meets Pokemon meets, I think, like a survival building game.
Damn.
So it's like...
That's quite the combo.
Right. I've heard that it's a little janky. It's an early access, so it needs a lot of work.
Right.
I heard that it's an early access
finished product yet.
Exactly. But for what it is, it's interesting. And so if you watch any videos on anything, I guess basically how you tame them is like you find your first little creatures and you knock them over the head with your club. Like knock them out to like tame them into being your creature, I guess.
Right. A mild concussion, bring anyone to heal.
So I think that you can get your pets or pals or whatever they're called in the game,
right?
To like
good friends
to do like to do tasks for you. So like a Factorio game or like a factor simulator game, whatever it is, where you can like have them do jobs. I think I could be wrong.
Slaves.
Right. Exactly.
Damn, bro.
And it's all through abuse. You abuse your pets and they will do whatever you want to, I guess.
Imagine knocking your dog over the head with a club and then telling it to do your taxes for you.
Yep, and it's going to do it. But in this,
or else it gets the club again.
In this scenario, it's your little sheep companion that looks like a Pokemon sheep, and the art style looks very reminiscent of Pokemon. I think actually some people are saying there's like blatant ripoffs from certain characters because they're like 1-to-1 almost. I think, But it's very funny to see a little Pokemon sheep in front of like a 2 rotary cannon Gatling gun, and that's like their yeah, it's like that's
wow,
that's their whole thing. And I think you also you can pick up the sheep and use them as shields, I guess.
Holy shit!
Yeah,
You know what this is? This is PETA's idea of what Pokemon is.
Yes,
but for real this time.
For real this time.
God, and I already fucking hate PETA.
Yeah.
I hope this is I hope this is putting as much salt in their faces as possible.
There you go. That's interesting.
So yeah. A ton of people ranting and raving about that one.
Right. I haven't played it myself.
Probably gonna pick it up at some point.
Probably.
I'm gonna wait a while until they add more stuff.
Yeah. Let it go on sale at least once.
Oh yeah.
But in the next few months, Valheim is going to be releasing the Ashlands, which is like the far
major update.
The far south, like hell dimension.
Damn.
Yeah.
We going to Helheim, boys.
You're right. And I think that's one of the last few updates. I think they have 1 or 2 more spots they may change over, but like they've covered each of the biomes. They kind of been like flushing out as they go. So there was there was the plains with like Hearth and Home, I think, or whatever it was. And then it was the Mistlands, and then now there's the Ashlands. So it's going to be pretty cool. I think it's going to be awesome. I've been playing a lot of Valheim right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Going ham.
Yep. I like me a good survival game.
Yeah.
I've done this with Minecraft, for time in memoriam. I always go back to Minecraft and play a little while.
Yeah.
But specifically right now, I've really been digging in the groove of like Valheim, because I've never really like gone through the progression.
Mm-hmm.
I think as it was intended. I think I kind of missed some things or stuff like that. And
yeah.
now there's on like the wiki, there's like kind of like a progression guide.
Right.
That's like the kind
bit of a cheat sheet.
Right. It kind of tells you like what. It doesn't spoil too much, but it just gives you like, hey, before you move on to this thing, like it'd be wise just like make sure you got this kind of stuff flushed out. Because if you don't have that, it makes it significantly harder to move on, because like this next area is hard.
Right.
And it's like if you're on normal difficulty, you could probably make it, but like it makes your life a lot easier if you just do this. And I like
otherwise it's gonna be fucking minion.
Because like the tutorial system like I like it because it doesn't really hold your hand and tell you like too much about it.
Right. As you do new things, it'll pop up with a, hey, did you know?
Right.
Since you've done this, how about I just tell you about the rest of it?
Right. But there is no like clear linear progression.
Yeah.
Once you know it makes sense. But for me,
you just gotta know it first.
Right. So that's what I've been doing. It's just like learning some of the stuff, and I found some carrot seeds.
Ooh.
Grow some carrots.
Get a farm going.
Bro, I've never farmed in that game at all.
I didn't know you could farm other than like bees.
Right, you can farm bees. The thing is, how like the crafting system works in the game is like you don't get the crafting recipe until you have had one of each of the items it takes to craft it in your inventory. The second you do that, like, is when the recipe opens up to craft it. So obviously any of like the late tier game stuff, you can't just get in the beginning. Right. Unless you like pick up one of each of the items. And then it all will unlock for you basically. I was saying that because I spent the metal to make the cauldron, to like make soups and like cooked food, which is like the next level of like you can cook food on like the cooking rack, but like the upgrade from that is the cauldron, like make stews, meads, and like soups and stuff like that.
A fine stew.
Exactly. Well, I opened up. I was like, you can make like little things here and there with the cauldrons. Like, oh, that's nice. And then I finally like picked up the carrot seeds. I'm like, I'm gonna go ahead and plant them. Planted a whole bunch of carrot seeds. They grew up. Got some carrots. And I was like, hell yeah. And then the second I picked up the carrots, like so much food shit opened up. And I was like,
damn.
Oh. So many like
The entire applicable recipe book for carrots
exactly
was beamed into your mind.
Yeah, I was like, all of a sudden I woke up and was like, carrot soup.
I can see
deer stew.
so fucking well.
Yeah, deer stew.
Damn.
So, anyways, it was really cool. I was having a lot of fun with that. So,
Good stuff.
Having fun with that game. But yeah, you know. Came back from Disney World with a bunch of souvenirs.
Oh yeah, plenty of goods. A fair haul.
I don't know if I'm the only one that does this or not, but like in my backpack, I specifically didn't overload my backpack because I thought I was going to be buying a bunch of stuff.
Right.
But dude, whenever I was trying to pack everything,
didn't quite work out.
It was a hot moment where I was like, I don't think all this is going to fit.
I'm going to have to leave some shit. Somebody's going to get some free stuff.
It wasn't even just like some stuff. Like it got to the point where I was like, I think I can leave this one thing behind. Like it was that close. Damn. Where I was like, I'm like, I'm trying my best to shove everything in here. But it's like, it was so heavy. And I was in my big duffel bag. I was afraid I was going to like bust my zipper. Like, cause the way I was like trying to zip it, but I didn't want to force it.
Right.
Bruh, I was like, I could just take out this one item that like I brought here or whatever. And I was like, and then
everything would be fine.
And everything would fit. But I was like, but I don't want to do that.
Right.
So yeah. Anyways.
Damn.
It was a lot of fun though. But I got everything here. Got everything here safely. Everything's great.
Miraculous.
Yeah. I was looking at that over there. I got a little a Space Mountain mug. Mm-hmm. It's got a cool little top on it. Right. It's very nice. Mallory got herself a dagger that she's really proud of.
Yeah.
It's very cool.
A straight up blade.
Yeah.
Came in the mail. I was like, what the fuck is this?
We went to...
What are you planning?
We went to Epcot in like the UK pavilion. In Epcot, they have a bunch of like, medieval stuff and, all that kind of everything. Where I got that, my family crest all knitted up and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I went over to that place again and I bought...
a beautiful work of embroidery.
I bought something for myself at that same shop.
Oh, yeah?
It's kind of expensive.
Oh.
It's a ring.
Oh.
Yeah.
Right.
I'll show it to you whenever it comes in.
A bit of jewelry.
A bit of jewelry in it. Yeah. So anyways. Looking forward to episode 200. And I kind of want to start to brainstorm on what we should do for that episode.
Yeah, I got no fucking clue, man. I'm being honest with you.
I mean, we can just hang out and have a good time. That's all we really need to do.
We'll figure it out. Ought to be fun either way.
Yeah. It'll be good.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and before we wrap up, as you can tell, I'm starting to get tired because I'm losing my train of thought now.
Right.
A little bit. But
I get a little dizzy.
I think it's because also we're drinking chamomile tea. Oh, so I think the tea is really kicking in. The both of us were like, oh, it's all nice and cozy and it's warm in here.
It really do be.
We started watching, I think we mentioned this before.
Motherfucking Outlaw Star.
Dude.
And he loves it. I was so fucking worried, man, because I had warned you before we started the show about like the dub. It's like, okay, look, it's at that nice like in between era where they're starting to realize what they're doing.
Right.
Like doing good jobs. So we can either do that.
Right.
Or we can just play it safe and watch the subs.
The dub was a good idea for me. I think it was great.
I like the dub. I think it's okay.
It is.
I think it works.
I see what you mean. There are a couple of deliveries that can feel a little canned, a little weird,
stiff.
But it's not bad though. No. I don't think it. Anytime,
it's excusable.
Right. Anytime there's ever been like serious dialogue, it always feels pretty good. It's whenever it gets a little comedic, then it feels a little hokey. But it's never bad. It's never like it's never. If I do laugh, it's like it's with the show and not at the show.
Right.
There's been some times where like there has been some deliveries of lines where I'm like I'm laughing at the show. Yeah. It's hard. Like I'm not laughing at the joke. I'm laughing at how poorly delivered that was.
Right.
But anyways, it's not that.
Thankfully.
And it's also, and I love the setting. I love the vibe.
Oh yeah.
I still have in the back of my mind this story that I am writing.
Uh-huh.
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
in the details because I don't want to. I want to keep this as a trade secret.
Right.
But I have been
proprietary.
I have been. This was a character that was joked around about between Ethan, Dylan, and myself. And as we were playing, or as we were, I don't think we were playing. We were watching the demo, watching the fights for Relink. I want to say it was either that or we were watching a show or something, and we were sitting there, and I was cracking a joke, but I'm almost certain I was watching players do certain fight sequences, and I was watching like the boss battles and stuff, and as we were talking about it, as I was watching it, I was making a joke about the fact of this character and how funny would it be if, and you and me just start riffing off of each other as we're sitting there cracking up, and I'm typing up notes. And then that just, as it does, it was a wonderful brainstorming session that just all of my creative juices were flowing.
Right.
All the cylinders were firing, and I was like, boom, 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 boom. And I had
service of this joke character.
And this joke character, I feel like would fit perfectly in the world of Outlaw Star.
Probably.
And it would and the fact that like the universe, the setting that it's in, the fact there's like a little bit of magic involved, and it's also kind of
totally pull it off.
And it's like in the space age kind of thing. It just feels so. And the fact that like this character and this idea feels very anime to me,
right?
Inspired by Cowboy Bebop, the Big O, and all these like cool characters, and, and these like awesome main characters I love, and now also Gene a little bit in so many ways.
Starwind,
yeah, what a name, dude. Yeah. So it feel like I don't know. I would like to write this story out or make him real,
right,
one day. I don't know if or when or how, but
that'd be nuts.
I want merch. So anyways, it's maybe one day. I don't want to say never. Never say never, because maybe one day you will hear this character.
Instead, say perhaps.
Perhaps you will hear from this character. Maybe we just maybe we just make him into a like a radio show.
Yeah.
Like a radio drama.
Damn.
Like a podcast radio drama of like things that he's been a part of.
I don't see many of those around. At least not that I know of.
There's been a couple of them that come out recently of like a narrative podcast where it's like it's like a character and it's in a whole new world with sound effects and music and stuff. It's pretty cool.
Interesting.
Anyways, I think that's about it. I think we're
that's about all I got in me, bro.
Yeah. Yeah. Everyone at home, I hope we made you yawn right now.
All right.
Because we're all doing that.
Pavlov.
If anyone is listening to this in the morning, I'm sorry.
Yeah,
go back
to
sleep.
Pick the wrong time to listen.
Yeah. But anyways, thanks for listening. We have
or sleeping.
We have a YouTube channel. You can just type in at the Aftermath, I believe. No, I'm wrong.
Hindsight Studios.
Hindsight Studios. Thank you for getting that right for me. You can do at Hindsight Studios, and you can find our YouTube channel where you can find all the stuff about nothing, all the stuff about nothing, everything for the Aftermath and all that fun stuff. And so,
indeed,
that or all the major podcasting platforms. Just type in the Aftermath, and you should be able to find us that way. Or if you dig inside your glove compartment far enough and get rid of all that trash that's in there, I'm pretty sure
the gap.
I'm pretty sure that the podcast is tucked away in there with all the rest of the stuff in there. Whatever that sus thing back there is.
Right, just behind the registration.
Yeah. Or if you also, that old pair of shoes you have in your closet that you just forgot about.
Never wear anymore.
Yeah. I'm almost certain there's at least a podcast episode in there.
Right, you put them on and you'll be transported to our studio.
Oh, really?
Live podcast.
Dang, that's new tech right there.
Right.
I know we had that.
Just make sure you don't mix them up with the boots of questionable stealth.
I actually don't know if I want them to put that on because I don't want them to find the studio.
No, that'd be really funny.
This is our secret bunker that no one knows about.
Okay, we'll just chalk it up to a disappearance. Who's gonna know what happened to him?
I guess you're right. Well, anyways.
Found a pair of boots missing, and they're also missing.
And they're also missing?
Wound up in a different state, possibly.
Yeah. You know what? It is what it is.
The perfect crime.
The perfect crime. All right. Until next week, thank you so much for listening.
See ya.
Bye-bye.